this is Patty DePriest, and welcome back to Educate Academy, brought to you by the Kentucky Academy of Technology Education. Today we're going to take a look at Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark is free for education. There are three different parts to Adobe Spark. There is Spark Post, where you can create graphics and memes and things like that. There's Spark Video, where you can actually do videos and put those together. And then there's Spark Page, which creates an online magazine or a website. Today we're going to focus mostly on Spark Page, but initially we're going to talk a little bit more about what Adobe Spark is and how to get it into your school. On this page, and I will share that with you, Adobe will tell you how to set up your account for Adobe Spark. They mentioned that if you already have Adobe products, that you can add Spark to the Adobe Admin Console. They also have a guide to getting started. This is really important because when you go to log your students in for it to be COPA compliant, it does need to be managed by your school. And when your students log in and create an account, they are going to initially create an Adobe account, and then they can actually use their Google or their Office 365 email, but they're not going to actually create it initially with their Google or Office 365 email account. Alright, so what is Spark? And this is the page where you actually go into Spark. This is my account. And when you're on here, if I go to the plus, I can create a new post, page, or video. Notice that I have a few posts that I've created on here. I don't have any videos, I don't think. I've done some, but I think I did them on an iPad. If we want to look, this is a post that I've created. It is on Yellowstone, and I just picked a way that I wanted to do the layout, and I picked the pictures. You can add pictures, and I chose photos, and you can upload a photo, but you can also find free photos, and this is really nice. It pulls them from a lot of different free sites that are Creative Commons licensed for your students to use. So it's really great. You can also add, text and icons and logos and things like that. Once you're done, you can share it out, and then you can also download it. In order to bring it into Spark Page, you do need to download it and then upload it into Page. Hopefully they're working on that because it seems like you should be able to pull those in a lot easier. Anyway, that is Post. I'll go back by clicking on the icon here, and I'm going to show you, this is a project that I did for an Adobe class I took on Adobe Spark Page. And so what Page is it allows you to pull in images, videos, add text and all. And so this is the page that I created on destinations for a bucket list. And so you can notice that I put some headers in there, or headlines, and I've got some text, and I've got some pictures. This is something that I created in Adobe Spark Post. And then I've got more stuff here, and again, just a picture. This is a different way to put in a picture where it goes all the way across and you scroll through it. Notice it also has a little byline there, or talks about the actual picture. And then it goes into Indonesia, another one of those pictures, and so on and so forth. So you get an idea of what this looks like. Going back to Spark Page. Just as I mentioned, to get to the website, I don't think I did mention that, go to spark.adobe.com/edu, and again, make sure that you set up that Adobe Admin Console where your school is managing and controlling the access to Adobe Spark. All the premium features that you used to have to pay for are free for education, and so you can pretty much do anything that you can do in Adobe Spark for free with your students. So to start one new, we're going to click the plus sign, and we're going to go to Page. And so the first thing it's going to do is ask you to add a title. Now, one of the neat things that Spark has done is that teachers used to complain that with some of their products that the students would spend all day looking at fonts and trying them out and all these different things. So they really limit you. When you pick a theme, you get the fonts that come with a theme. There's no other way to change those fonts. And so we're going to add a title, and this is going to be on Yellowstone National Park. Alright, so when I click off of that, I can add a photo. So I'm going to click on the photo. I'm going to go to find free photos, and I'm going to type in Yellowstone. Alright, so a couple of these you may recognize from my other picture that I had. There was one on here that I really liked. This one. See what that, yeah, that's what I need. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go down to this button, and I've got options. I can add a photo, I can add text, I can add a button, and this is how you add a hyperlink. I can add video from YouTube, I can put in a photo grid, and then I can have a glide show, and we'll look at all of these. So first we're going to add text, and it's going to be a headline. And so I am going to type in, and once I've done that, I can format this text, and so I can make it centered. Notice I can make it into a quote. I've got headline 1 or headline 2. I chose 1, which is the bigger one. I can add in bullet points, numbers. Up here at the top are your themes, and so all of this is going to set my look as to what everything's going to look like. So I am going to, let's try this vintage. I don't like what it did to my picture, and so I'm going to choose something else. Let's try this. Let's leave it at that for now. And again, we're going to come down here. All right, so underneath, I am going to add some other text. And I'm going to click here. This I'm going to make a quote, and I'm going to paste it in, and this is coming from a website from the National Park Service, and so it is a quote. Now I'm going to add again, and this time we're going to add a photo, and we're going to add, I like this picture of the bison, and so we're going to add this in. Notice you've got different ways to add the picture. You can do it inline, which is what it is right now. And I could also fill the screen. I could do a window, which is that kind of neat thing that you saw earlier. I could do full width, which is going to make it a pretty big picture. And so this moves it where it is located. So it would have put it above where I had my quote. I'm going to do the window so you can see it. And so now as I scroll, it's going to scroll past that picture. I really like that effect. Notice I have a caption that I can add. Now, see, that's part of my theme, and I don't really like the red behind it, but we're going to leave it there for right now. We can go back and change it later. Okay, so we're going to add some more text, and this is going to be another headline. This is going to be things to do. And then under that, we're going to add more text, and it's going to be just plain, so I'm going to paste that in. And then I'm going to go and add a video. And so I'm going to click on the video button, and I'm going to copy a video that I have on another screen. And I'm going to paste this in here, and I'm going to click Save, and it adds it in. So this is 5 must-see attractions that you must do. You can see how easy it is to keep adding things on. And so let's go, and we're going to add a little bit more text. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to add the text. And I'm going to add, see how this works with a headline. So once I added the headline, this is the smaller of the two headlines, let's add a photo grid. And so I can add different photos to add to my grid. So let's add the So the more pictures that I add, it's going to change that grid, what it's going to look like. Let's see what else we can add here. Some of these things I'm not sure are Yellowstone, so there's a geyser. There we go. Okay, so that's my photo grid. Now I can move those around, I believe. So I've got my little arrows here, and so I can move these. So I've got the 3 scenes and then the 3 things of wildlife. If I want to change something, I can click here, and I can replace it, and I can say, okay, I want these buffalo, and so on. Oh, one of my pictures disappeared. Which one was that? We'll add a bear. Let's move this one over here. And so we've got some wildlife and we've got some scenery. Okay, once we get it done, see it says Edit Grid. It's really not liking that extra picture, is it? Well, let's add this in. This is going to redo my grid, which I really like the way that it does those kinds of things. I'm not sure that's actually Yellowstone, but we're going to leave that there anyway. So I'm going to go up here and click Save, and it adds that experience then to, and you see how easy it is. I've added all this stuff. It looks awesome, and I can keep adding information. This is a great way for your students to create and turn in something that's a report, but yet they're putting it in a format that is just very, very impressive. On here, the things that we haven't added a button, so let's go ahead and add that. National Park Service, I'm going to go back to their actual home for Yellowstone, so I'm going to copy that. And so my button text is going to say Yellowstone, and we will paste that underneath. Notice my alignment. I can make it left, right, or center. Let's make it center. And so that's going to be a button that people can press to get information. Okay, so underneath here we are going to put let's put some text instead. This time we're going to put just regular text. Okay, so we've got, notice it's separated in each paragraph, and it's got the ability to add pictures or whatever in between. And so now we're going to add another picture. We did the photo grid, so let's do the glide show. And so I'm going to put Yellowstone hiking. I don't know if it'll come up with anything, but we can add some things here so that you can actually see what it's going to look like. As I said, I don't know that all of these are actually Yellowstone. Now, if I don't like that picture, I can come in here and delete it. So I'm going to go ahead and you can, add and remove these pictures. I'm going to click Save so that you can see what it does with it. And it may not save until it gets them all loaded. Okay, so notice as I scroll through here, it's going from one picture to the next, to the next. Notice on each one of those that I can add a caption to it. Again, this program just amazes me in how easy it is to use and how much you can do with it in so little time. So now I can go to the preview button, and it's going to show me what it's going to look like. Notice that I didn't put in a subtitle, so it took that out in the preview. I'm going to scroll down. I can actually watch the video. And I can close that. Scroll down, I see my grid. I can click here, and it's going to open up the National Park Service site. I can read some more, and then I can scroll through these different pictures. Very impressive. Okay, so to get out of this, I'm going to close that, and I'm back into the editing mode. Under Share, this is how you would share your link with somebody else. And so I've got my title. I can pick a category where it goes. I have my author name on here, and whether or not I want to show that when I share this. I've got the photo credits for every picture that I pulled in. Those were added automatically. And then I can create the link. I have to pick a category. Okay, so we're going to say Education. Once I've got that category picked, I'm going to create the link, and I can copy it. I can also post this to Facebook, Twitter. I can email it to someone, or I can get the embed code that I can embed into another website or some other projects that will accept the embed code. So you've got all those different things. We'll copy this here. And so if I was to come over here and paste this in, it's going to go ahead and load the actual version. So that's it. That really is all you need to do. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My email is pdpriest, that's DEPRIEST @murraystate.edu. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you online.